How's it going, everyone? Sessiion here. Welcome. We are currently live waiting for the Final Fantasy XIV London Fan Festival happening in literally just 13 minutes, literally from now. And I think ultimately I wanted to just use the remaining time we have before the trailer does come out to understand what are some of the things we might be seeing as like a prediction for the keynote, if you will. So I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that we're going to get a new extension of the trailer, right? So if we kind of compare it to the current trailer we have here now, obviously it's only 2.5 minutes long. There's not really too much to look at in relation to this, but there is going to be a lot more coming. First thing that comes into mind is in the event that we enter this scenario where we start going through kind of the territory of Terral and we see some of the things that's ongoing, there's going to be a moment in time where we somewhat come into battle with, who to this mysterious figure. We know who the opponent is in this scenario, obviously, but I think that what's going to happen is in the US trailer, right, we get attacked and we get hit with this like flame thing, and then the coat starts to kind of like, have like a burning effect, if you will. Now, I think what's going to end up happening is what'll be revealed is the job that is this job. I think that Meteor, or the Warrior of Light as we are, right, we are the official job, the new job that's going to be revealed during this specific live letter. Now, to kind of quickly speculate it, a lot of people are saying that to a degree it might be like the Corsair job, which is a very heavy emphasis because like pirate theme and all that fun stuff. So with this in mind, now obviously like we have a sword in the trailer for this one, but like this is like a very different image of what it can be conceptualized as Corsair, if you will. I don't know if the name Corsair will be used specifically, and we're definitely not getting like a cannon unless it's like an ability thing, right? But we do have like a little pistol here in the hand as well. So if this is the job concept that they're going with into Dawntrail, it'll be very fascinating because it's going to be playing out essentially as like a melee, if you will, and like sharing the role with Ninja in terms of being like a scout class. Now, in my mind, I'd like to wager that it'll be, people are kind of speculating that it's gonna be very similar to like a red mage, but like in the reverse order, right? So you're gonna have a red mage where you cast spells from a distance, and then you go up close to do your melee combo attacks, and then you can either back away and then keep casting spells, right? Ideally, this Corsair job, melee job, should be similar in that case scenario, but it'll be backwards, right? So you are mostly doing damage up close, and then you probably summon like a cannon, and then you do a bunch of cannon attacks, and then you go back to your usual routine of or not at all, right? Maybe you might have the sword, and then you have like the pistol, and then have that be the weapon of choice that you use. I think on top of that, with Corsair in mind, it's going to be the second job officially, I would say, out of the raid job classes, if you will, where there will be a main hand and an offhand. So similar to like Paladin, where you have like the sword and shield, right? I think the sword will be the main hand, but then the pistol will be the offhand. That way there is like a reason to have two different weapons, because I feel like if they're paired together, that might not aesthetically be something that they might enjoy. Like I feel like players may want to differentiate it a little bit, where you can have the design of one sword different from one gun and that sort of thing. But if they were paired together, that wouldn't be the worst thing ever, but I think they'd be doing a really cool step up if they were to actually separate the two items consistently as it is. So I think with the trailer in mind, we are going to see him, instead of it just like drip out and then go into the scenario with the food thing, I think what's going to happen is he's going to take off the cloak and then fight back and then reveal the secondary weapon that he'll use against his opponent in this exact scenario. I think additionally, during the scenario here where, Alizé's going through the fruit thing, the show's looking at some of the lore, they're kind of doing some reconnaissance, right? There is another character who has been speculated to appear in this expansion with a very strong emphasis, which is Cryo. And if you did know the end of the expansion of Endwalker for 6.5's MSQ, she essentially gets reads like a letter that's hard to read, and there's like a little token, kind of like an earring, if you will. And to those who were very quick to kind of put the money on it, right, it was the green mage symbol from one of the Final Fantasy Tactics games that they revealed. So they're speculating that green mage will be the job that Cryo will take on going into Dawntrail. Now, again, I think that they're going to show Cryo wearing some kind of attire that will be reminiscently similar to what this one may look like to a degree, but it may not exactly be called the Green Mage. People are also speculating on like Geomancer. I've heard Pictomancer. I think it's not going to be immediately revealed during this keynote. We're not going to know the caster job, but we're definitely going to know the scouting job, 100%. I do expect Yoshi P to actually appear in the outfit for the melee class during this keynote, and he'll give us a little bit of a lore and a backstory behind the design for the job, the concept behind it, how it'll function. We won't see any key abilities yet, but we'll get like a small little tidbit of what it'll function like as a job in comparison to the rest of the jobs. So there's that. As far as the trailer goes, I don't expect it to be too extensive. Like, I don't expect Cryo should appear during this segment of the trailer with her new official attire, but it won't confirm her role as the caster class. So we'll see kind of what it looks like when we actually get there for sure. And I think for the remainder of the trailer as well, there is obviously a very big gap between this moment and leading into the finale of the end of the trailer. They're going to add something here as well that should add a bit of more emphasis into the lore about what's going to be happening and why we're going to Terral in the first place. I think they're also going to reveal a moment of Cryo's like idea behind why she's also there as well, because obviously she's on her own personal journey to come into this area to figure out what's going on too, so that'll also be revealed. At least I think it will be. And I think lastly, we'll kind of understand a little bit of a deeper meaning behind again why we're here in the first place from like the enemy's perspective. It'll be very small, but it should be there. Now as far as gameplay goes, you know, we obviously have the engine. That's kind of the newest thing that they're working on from a whole gigantic perspective, right? So we have confirmation that they're working on like textures and the coloring and the shadows, and obviously you're gonna have to get like a bit of a stronger PC/console to be able to like run the game. It's not too much of a bump, but it's still a bump nonetheless. And obviously they also announced that there's going to be dyes in 2 parts now for Glear, Glamour, and everything too, which is really cool. I am expecting them to reveal something else that's new that they haven't showcased at the US keynote, such as, you know, like weapons also being able to be dyed in 2 parts. They mentioned Glamour, but they didn't specify like how it would work. Now, I think if I could make a request on what I would like for them to showcase as we begin shortly very soon, is they basically confirm that for ultimate weapons, this is my hope, right? My hope is that with ultimate weapons, so obviously we've had 5 ultimates throughout the entire Hydaelyn Zodiac saga, which is incredible, but there's going to officially be 2 jobs that are incapable of getting weapons for 5 different ultimates. And those jobs will probably be very helpful in those old batches of content. So I think as a result, they may make the announcement that like, hey, all of the newer jobs that came out will kind of rescind backwards, and then now officially glam and weapons can be available from the old ultimates for the new ones. So those are some small little, you know, tips and thoughts about what we might be seeing. I think we'll also get a bit more information on like a beast tribe thing, or tribal beast, if you will, in terms of like what we're going to be seeing more wise. We should be getting a bit of more insight as to another boss. So we did get information about the trial or potential boss monster that's related to the tribe of the Pelu Pelu, and it's Valley Garmondo, right? That's a very traditional FF6 trialed or Esper, if you will. I think we'll be seeing another monster or beast of some nature, and we'll kind of see that come into place as well. I'm also expecting them to a degree to introduce either one of 2 things. We'll either get the name of the raid experience, or we'll get the name of the alliance experience. We won't get the full details as to what it will entail to, obviously, and there obviously isn't going to be a trailer, but we'll know the name. Like, for example, you know, with the Myths of the Realm Alliance raid that was announced during one of the keynotes, and same thing with the Pandemonium raid being announced, but they didn't actually showcase any details pertained to that. I think they'll also tap a little bit into kind of the gameplay and what it'll kind of turn into and kind of focus about. You know, I know that there's a lot of conversation about like the meta and the job functionality, and I think that might be tapped on like a little bit, but you know, the whole purpose of this is to showcase the new world, the new aesthetics, the new incoming bits of information. So I think that'll be the majority of what the keynote is going to be catered towards. So hopefully we'll get a bit of more of that very, very shortly. So stay tuned to find out.